You cannot be serious!
Anyhow, so there we are. So, now, Don, did we cover the fact that you've recovered now and the marijuana oil? Did you think that did you a lot of good?
No,
Right,
I used heavier drugs for that.
Right. Good. Well, we've just covered that off. Now, here's a thing that you might be interested in, Don. The climate change has now been offered as a reason why childhood obesity is on the rise. Can you believe it? This is the latest claim from the climate change conspiracy theorists who say that because the planet is heating up, kids are not going outside and playing in the hot conditions, and that's why they're becoming obese. Can you believe this? So then someone had enough of this, and a bloke called Piers Corbyn, who is a climate expert, one of them, who doesn't agree with the general opinion from people who get paid to make an opinion about the climate, said that CO2 emissions has nothing to do with climate change. It is about the activity of the sun and the moon. And he went back 132 years and said there were just as bigger floods, just as bigger wildfires, just as bigger variations in temperature, either extreme and high and low, almost 150 years ago, and said carbon dioxide emissions has nothing to do with climate change, and has completely turned upside down.
I think it has a little. I do think it does to a degree. Carbon monoxide.
I'm just telling you, this man says this has nothing to do with it. He said it is the activity of the sun and the moon
that's right.
on the climate on our planet.
That's exactly right. And if, as I've said in the past, if you read that poem which we learnt at school, Dorothy McCallum, Our Country, Australia's always been a land of extremes.
How does it go?
I love a sunburned country, a land of droughts and sweeping plains. Come on, you tell me.
Yeah, I love a sunburned country, a land of sweeping plains, I love a sunburned country.
Flooding rains, isn't it?
No, I love a sunburned country, a land of sweeping plains.
Of droughts and floods and such. I love a far horizons, something about a dark blue sea. The great brown land for me.
I was trying to point out the word that is most commonly mispronounced in that poem. It's not rugged mountain ranges, it's ragged mountain. I love a sunburned country, a land of sweeping plains, of droughts. I can't.
Jeez, you're failing.
Well, you can't even remember the poem.
No, but you're the one who hangs his hat on his memory. And talking about climate change, I went to a coffee shop yesterday. I've just started having a thing about getting coffee in these cups, the takeaway cups, because it was brought to my attention. I was waiting for a coffee and a lady came in with a glass jar, and she cleans out, and has a coffee from a glass jar. So then I asked the coffee man, how many cups he goes through a year. 60,000 coffees he makes a year. So that means he buys 60,000 coffee cups a year.
$5 a cup?
Yes, but anyway, and that's only a small coffee shop. So you can imagine how many coffee. So what do you do with these cups? They're not biodegradable,
aren't they?
Some of them are.
Well, I thought they were waxed and whatever else, and don't break down. So a lot of these climate people drink coffee. We all drink coffee in takeaway cups. Why isn't there a campaign starting to start and recycle, or take your own cup along?
So there is. The Keep Cup movement's been going on for years, just not everyone's in the swing of it.
So anyhow, this man, Piers Corbyn, says that climate change has nothing to do with carbon emissions. It is sun and moon activity, and they've gone back hundreds of years to show that the variations in temperature of extremes was prevalent all the way back then, but it's now become a money spinner to chat about it on a daily basis in present conditions. And so then we get on to the fact, this is the next thing. There is an edict around the world almost, and here, that by 2035 there'll be no fossil fuel driven vehicles. They'll all be electric. And this man says, so this is the latest pushback on this hoax. He says there's no such thing as zero emission cars. There's no such thing. The emissions just get exported to a different country because, if you think about it, it's pretty right. He said to make one car battery, you have to dig up 500,000 pounds of materials to make up a single battery. It takes 200 to 300 barrels of oil to make one battery, and to manufacture one battery, the carbon debt released into the air is 40 tons of CO2. That's to make one battery. To increase the use of batteries required to make cars, you have to increase 4,000% the production of lithium, cobalt and zinc. He said there is not enough mining in the world to make enough batteries to power the cars by 2035, so it is a hoax, Don. You might think that the car that passes you on the road, a Tesla, has zero emissions. That might be vaguely right, but they just get exported to another country which has to produce by coal-fired, by fossil-fueled equipment to produce all the things needed to make one car battery. So that's another thing. It's a bit like the vaccine hoax that was perpetrated on us, where vaccines did actually basically nothing to stop COVID, and yet today we turn a blind eye to the 10,000 cases a day, and yet we cancelled and shut down the whole of this country and the whole of this state when there was 5 cases, and now there's 10,000 a day and no one gives a stuff. There's 90,000 at the football on a successive weekly basis and no one gives a stuff about it, and yet a couple of years ago we couldn't even have the grand final here, and in fact a couple of blokes were put in jail because they decided to go to the football thumbing their nose at the most ridiculous stringent precautions and safeguards that didn't work and had no intention of working, and the vaccines which don't stop you getting COVID, they say they minimise the risk of it. Well, people have had boosters and boosters and boosters and they still keep getting it. So we were just part of an elaborate hoax by pompous, arrogant, low IQ hustlers trying to project their own over their fake importance, Don. So that's the climate change
So
thing.
you got that off your chest?
Well, I did.
Did you happen to watch any football over the weekend?
Yes, a little.
Okay. Well, I've watched a bit of it too because over the finals. I think it's been very, very enjoyable.
Yes.
So, but I think I am qualified as a critic now because I haven't watched it for a long time, and it's interesting when I reflect on it over the weekend. And a couple of observations.
Give us them, Don, quickly.
You
Spit
ready?
them out.
Too many special comments, people on football.
Yes.
And I tune out. There was one fellow that actually makes sense and doesn't speak repeatedly after every play or when there's a little space, and that is Lee Matthews.
Yes.
The others, they have got verbal diarrhea. I counted
Do you know who the others are, just out of
4
curiosity?
special comments people, or all adding. So you got 4 people giving special comments, all trying to vindicate their position of why they're there. They should just have 2 commentators and one special comments, and tell me what is going on around the ground. I can see what is going on there, but there are other things going on out of camera, and this is the job of special comments, to inform me of what I cannot see and why it is happening on the ground.
Right.
Now, that is,
Yes.
and the other thing, Channel 7, and I've worked it out now, that I will consult my computer as to the actual starting time of the game. They say 7 o'clock, so I tune at 7 o'clock. They go for 3/4 of an hour of preview and preamble, which is a load of shit.
Oh, you go off the TV guide, do you?
I go off what Channel 7. There's football's coming on at 7 o'clock. I want to know now. I will switch. That is a waste of television for 3/4 an hour, giving the preamble.
Friday night is 10 to 8. Saturday is 25
So
past
anyway, I'm now, because they just go on too much, and what relevance it has to the game, I really don't know.
Well, at the start of one of the games, they had a minute's silence for the Queen. They had
Welcome
the
to
national
country.
anthem. They had Welcome to Country. They had Delta Goodrum.
That was amazing, just FYI.
They had 5 different things on, and eventually they got round to playing football. So the Welcome to Country is taking up a bigger part of the pre-match festivities than anything.
And anyway, I continued on watching a little bit more, and I watched the VFL game with the Southport and the Gold Coast, and also a bit of the ladies. These coaches, who are not top coaches, vindicate their position by the terminology they used. I would like to know where the drop zone, one thing I came across, the drop zone of football. Where is the drop zone when you're playing football?
In what
Well,
position?
you tell me.
In what position?
They talked about the drop zone.
The esoteric jargon, Don, is what you're talking. They just speak in tongues to impress people.
And I don't even know, the coach of the Gold Coast, wouldn't you want somebody who's kind of been there, done that? The language he was talking, I honestly did not understand what he was saying. I'd love to know his qualification. I don't think he's got a background in football. I would say that maybe he's gone through and got a qualification as a grade 3 coach or a grade 1 coach and has worked his way through the system. God, I mean, an old friend of mine who owned the Baron of Beef, his name was Jack Farr, he had a terrific saying.
And Tony
Bullshit.
Charlton. Didn't he own the Baron of Beef?
Who?
Tony Charlton?
No,
Oh,
no.
no, Burke County Beef he owned.
No.
Sorry,
Jack Farr,
Yes.
up at Sherbrooke, Baron
Yes.
of Beef. He had a terrific saying. Very wise man, Jack. Bullshit baffles brains.
Yes. Now, well done,
And that's
Don.
what's happening in football nowadays. There's so many coaches that just bullshit and don't understand, and they should elevate Lee Matthews a little bit more as far as the commentary
Right.
goes.
He doesn't
because
want to
at
do
least
it.
we understand what's going on.
He doesn't want to do it.
Right, now, Max, observations about this football. Come on, you're here for sport, so do something.
Okay, well, Melbourne gone out in straight sets after being the reigning premiers.
Thanks for that, Max.
No, this is going to be interesting because there's one player I want to bring up in this. Keep going, Max.
Thank you, Sam. Throw me right off now. Well, obviously, the reigning premiers out in straight sets, and there's a trend that all the special commentators and the media people keep talking about how they fall off in the fourth quarter. No one's been able to give exactly what it is that goes wrong with Melbourne other than the fact that they just drop off in the fourth quarter. No one gives any insight to it, and I couldn't tell you because I'm too busy watching the game that's very interesting and exciting, which goes down to the last couple of minutes of the fourth quarter as well.
So you've brought up, Max, the fact that Melbourne drop off in the last quarter and no one can give any insight as to why. So what's this got to do with sport? Are you giving us
anyway,
an
I'll
insight?
go a little
You've
bit
watched
further.
it.
I'm not giving an insight. You said to bring up sport. I'm bringing up a sport
I'll
topic
give you my
to open
explanation.
up to the people that have watched it, i.e. Don, not you, who
Okay,
sits at
I
home
will
and
give
watches
you
Fox
an
News all the bloody time.
Okay, Max,
Tucker Carlson.
will you steady down? I will give you an explanation. Melbourne are not emotively involved.
They're
They
not
were
what, sorry?
hungry last year. They've climbed the mountain. It is very hard to stay as hungry as they were last year on the way up.
Do you think that
No,
the
that
personnel...
is nonsense, Don.
John, it is a fact. Now, I'll use one person
So
as an
you're
example.
saying-
Hang
Just
on.
listen. I will give one person as an
All right.
example. I was really impressed with this fellow the year before. His name is Luke Jackson. Now, a player cannot go off the way he did and what he showed last year in 1 year. I'm talking about emotional involvement, and I'll use another couple of other players. He was, and we've only found out, it was talked about, that he's off to Fremantle. He wants to trade.
Today,
He
yeah.
was not invested in Melbourne. Now, to play football at a top level, you've got to be emotively involved with the group and the cause. And I watched other players over the years do exactly the same who performed when they went elsewhere. I'll give you a couple of examples. Daniel Chick played at Hawthorn. Last year, shocking. Lance Franklin, last year at Hawthorn, nothing.
Yes.
I'll give you an old one we played against. Bernie Quinlan,
Yes.
his last year at Footscray.
Yes.
Then goes on, wins a
Don.
Brownlow. And I'll put down Gary Ablett Jr.,
Yes.
his last year at Geelong.
Don, I'm the only reason I said nonsense to you was that if you are saying that Melbourne, who hadn't won a premiership since 1964 and won it last year, have climbed the mountain and have dropped off the top of the...
right.
You're saying they weren't as keen this year to back it up?
It's like a hungry
that's not
boxer,
right.
John. On the way up, a hungry boxer...
You're talking about a couple of individual players.
I'm
the whole
not-
club would have been motivated to do
John,
it back to back.
it is the players on the ground that are doing it. It's just like a boxer. The good teams are the ones that can keep on keeping on. Brisbane is the best team I have seen since the 50s when Melbourne were a dominant force. Brisbane under Lee Matthews at the start of the noughties was unbelievable team. They should have won, I think, four premierships. They were so good.
We have a guest.
No, we have, but I don't think that's him. So, Don, I'm asking you both this question. If you were an AFL footballer and you got into the finals and you trained and you were about to be playing a final and your wife decided that she was about to have a child, would you drop out of a game to go and stand by the bedside, or would you decide that you'd probably turn up and play football, what you've been training for most of your life?
Well, I attended my son's birth.
Did you miss a game?
Yes, but it was a practice game.
So no.
Well, it was a practice game. Now just listen.
Okay, fair enough.
I would not attend, and I didn't attend my daughter's birth. That is one of the most scariest things I've ever done, to see your wife go through what they do in giving birth. It is horrendous. How I take my hat off to anyone who can do it. And I don't think...
You're wearing a hat, as it turns out, Don.
Yes, smart ass.
Inspector Gadget.
I am, and then I thought about it. No, if I was in Danaher's position, you get paid to play football. That is your source of income. Your ultimate goal is a final or a premiership, and I think I would have played, because that's what you get paid for. Your wife understands that. But we're in a different society now, and unfortunately, in years gone by,
It's extraordinary, Don.
It is.
Extraordinary. I don't know if there was any risk with the Danaher child coming, but if the...
that's a good question. Does anyone know what... there's obviously two people that go through the birthing experience, the woman and the man, if that's how they identify, which is what Dad always says.
the man doesn't go through much, Jack, in comparison to what the woman goes through. I just take
thank you, Philip. Hey, dumbass, Max.
I take my hat off to them.
Philip, Max, Jack upstairs. You Don. Got it?
What's he talking about?
He called me Jack.
Oh, well, there's two of you here. Jack, Max, sorry.
Yeah.
You don't know what his partner's going through. She may have desperately wanted him to come back, and he made that decision. Maybe it's not solely on Joe. Obviously, it's a finals and it's do or die. It's his job and everything. But you cannot definitively say that it was Danaher's sole decision to do it. His partner or wife, I don't know if they're married or not, she could have been distraught, said she needed help. You just don't know.
Well, if that's the case, maybe you should plan it a little bit differently.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, because kids don't come early or go late, do they?
Plan it, Jack.
Seriously, honestly.
Max.
Jack or Max?
Yeah, Max, you idiot. Now listen.
Oh, yeah. Should we get your opinions on the matter? Father of the year.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Father of the year since
Tell you what, if I
1945.
had to miss a game to go and watch you being born, Max, holy mackerel.
No, you didn't miss any games for the first 5 years.
Just a little bit of sense. I brought up 2 weeks ago, whenever I was here, about Dylan Alcott. God, he has escaped, hasn't he?
What's he escaped from?
Well, he had that thing about he and his partner advertising the sex toy.
Yes.
She demonstrating the sex toy.
At the restaurant.
At the restaurant.
And what's he escaped from?
Well, criticism or critique.
What did he have to do with it?
Well, he was the one operating his mobile phone to increase the vibration of the of the vibrator that was inserted. So he was party as well. I mean, what? Geez, why did he escape?
No,
He's been protected.
No, he's been punished. He's going to the Queen's funeral.
Well, I understand all that. I said, why is he protected?
Maybe they don't
Anybody else?
Oh, yes, because he's not any able-bodied person, you're saying.
Well, he's Australian of the Year.
Here we go. Now we're testing the waters.
Australians of the Year recently.
Australian of the Year means nothing, honestly. If Shane Crawford can't get Australian of the Year, if Neil Danaher can't get Australian of the Year, it doesn't mean anything.
Quite right, Max. And now, did you know, Alan,
Thanks,
Mr.
Sam.
and Mr. Joyce, their airline, his airline?
Great sport topic.
What? Well, we're doing lots of different topics. Mr. and Mr.
No,
Joyce.
Haven't you worked it out? It's Johnny's show.
No, Don, we'll go on. Give us something else then.
Well, you're not into racing, but I just see on Saturday they had the 25 metre. The start of the Melbourne Cup is just starting, just ramping up. And as soon as the grand final's finished, Melbourne will switch its attention to racing. And on Saturday, Lloyd Williams's camp, or the Williams camp, had 3 start in the 2,500 metre race, 2,500 at Flemington. So it'll just be interesting to see who comes through. And now, if you follow the form, all
Don't fall out of your
races-
seat too quickly, Dad.
No, he's really interested in
No,
this.
that's
So that's
right.
why we've never had a jockey.
You're telling me that after the grand final's over, the racing season ramps up.
It
Well,
will.
gee, you can knock me down with some plumage.
And
Don.
that's what Melbourne is, so predictable.
Yeah.
As soon as one thing finishes, we go on.
Yeah, it's planned.
We've got a racing man coming in on a very, very high-profile trainer coming in. I've organised to come in and speak.
Well done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Well
What about
done.
a jockey?
Do you know Mr. and Mr.
Excuse me? What about a jockey?
Yes, what about getting one?
Okay.
You were going to get the girl on, and then you were going to get the boy on.
Okay, I will follow up.
Damien Oliver and
Yes,
Mr.
okay.
and,
Well,
the
you're
other-
on, because that is the most dangerous profession in the world, being
No,
a jockey.
don't be stupid.
You tell me one that isn't.
Don't. Come
What
on.
about MotoGP?
No.
What? No. What?
No.
Riding the bikes down the straight at 340k?
No, not at all.
You idiot.
Get on the back of an animal.
Yeah, no. I've
He
done
did in
that a
his
few
early days.
times. Yeah, absolutely.
Did you really?
Oh, wow, did I ever? Oh, just rode him hands and heels, Don.
They're all right.
Now, Don,
I've got a question to
Mr.
ask.
and Mr.
Off
Joyce's
air.
airline.
Question.
Mr. and Mr. Joyce, one of them is on $5.5 million a year. And Dick Goyder, do you know who Dick is?
Are you
Dick-
serious? No, hang on. What?
Yeah,
He's on 5.5
that's what
million.
it said.
Who said?
Well, it was in the tissue. It was announced. I'll read it out.
5.5 million.
Well,
Which Joyce?
Mr. Joyce.
God, there's their
There's
profit.
2 of them,
Well,
isn't there?
I'm not sure if it's Mr. Hey, Qantas chairman Richard Goyder. Maybe he was the
Yeah.
man that backed Gil McLaughlin in that
AFL.
book, the book,
West
The Boys
Farmers or
Club. He
someone,
said he
yeah.
was a very, very worthy man to head the AFL.
Yeah.
Yeah, until he
Come on,
started
come on,
to
come on,
become
come
a
on.
smart ass and have a go
Come
at
on.
us. Alan Joyce, after the carrier revealed it had received a pay increase and a bonus worth millions of dollars last financial year, widespread customer service problems that have infuriated passengers. It said he was paid $5.5 million last year. That's what it says
You
here.
could get somebody for 500. Surely someone would do that job for 500,000. 500
5.5 million.
You heard me. Head of Qantas, 500,000.
Yeah, but why would they when he gets 5.5?
There's
He
your
just stayed in the job.
There's your profit gone in one salary.
Anyhow,
Jeez, you
I'm
could
just
trim
telling
the
you.
bacon.
so
What about the other executives? What are they on?
The other Mr. Joyce?
No, the other executives of Qantas. They're on 5.5 million or
Well,
whatever.
I don't know, Don. I'm just reading. I thought that
Jeez,
was
you'd ask
as a
if you-
reasonable salary for Mr. Joyce and Mr. Joyce.
You'd
So
ask a
airline
few
company,
questions.
are airline companies not held to the same account as regular professions? What with
No,
Jetstar?
they're a business.
What with Jetstar and all Qantas as well cancelling flights, not really being held accountable for the constant what's the word I'm looking for? Did you know, not providing their proper service?
Well, they're all struggling for
'Cause
some
they just
reason.
keep on-
I
they
do
keep-
not understand why.
Because they keep giving their CEOs $1 million bonuses.
No.
Here's something that hasn't received a lot of publicity, sport-wise, I don't believe, Max and Don, is that over in Lausanne at the end of the Diamond League athletic season, our Australian high jumper...
Lausanne, is that on the lake? Is that in
Yes,
Switzerland?
Yes.
On the lake?
Yes.
In Switzerland?
Yes.
Thank you. That's all I want to know, because I got on the
Right,
train when I was travelling
Just
to
a minute.
Europe.
No, Don's on it. Just go ahead, Don.
We were travelling. I got confused between there is Lucerne and Lausanne. I got on the train.
Lucerne is what cows eat.
Oh, shut up. There's
I
a
was on
place
the
called
train.
Lucerne. There's Lausanne and Lucerne. So I got the wrong ticket in Rome, got on the train and finished up in the wrong destination. That's why I asked you. There was two places. One's in Switzerland, the other's in France.
Okay.
The high jumper.
Lausanne.
I was
That's
Well,
on a
that's the
train.
end of the high jump section then. We won't worry about saying why I brought up Lausanne.
Oh, Lausanne. I was on a train.
Nina Kennedy won the high jump.
Is that the girl from Inverloch?
What?
Girl from Inverloch.
The girl from Inverloch.
Well, she's the high jumper.
Well, is her name Nina Kennedy?
That's what I asked you.
Hit the button.
She won the high jump, won the title over there, the Diamond League. She won it in Lausanne. I haven't heard of any publicity about it. She looked fantastic and jumped just great. Nina Kennedy. I don't know if it's in Lausanne or if she's from Inverloch or what her status is, but I noticed that she didn't get much publicity about it unless I've missed it, and she was fantastic.
Well, I said that prior to the Commonwealth Games, that the athletes didn't receive the publicity prior to or leading up to which they deserved. We do not cover sport in the proper way in the media in Australia.
Now,
No, athletics is very much on the back foot of everyone.
unless you've got anything else, I wanted to bring this up. Now, wait for this, Don. This is the new. I was watching a doco on this. This is the new threat that's going to it's going to ravage the world. They're called bombots. Bombots. They're called. They're little robots. They're little bombots, and they put minute explosives in these little robots that are drones, and they're no bigger than your fist. And they program specific personnel, the specific data of personnel they want to assassinate. They put face recognition and DNA into the bombots, and they make hundreds of thousands of them, and they put them in the back of a van, the bombots, and then they open the doors, and they, like releasing a swarm of bees, they release these bombots and they seek out the people they wish to assassinate. And they say it's going to completely negate nuclear war, all forms of traditional warfare. They're going to program these bombots, and you can drive a van to them. You you program them, set them out, open the doors, and they fly out and seek out the people that they are wishing to annihilate or destroy.
Did
Hang
you
on,
get
is
this
this
from
a
Elon
sport?
Musk?
Is this a sport?
This could be a sport, but
No, it's not a sport.
no, it's not a sport.
Oh, okay. I thought it was coming under sport.
No, this wouldn't. I wouldn't
Give a
think-
whole new title to the most dangerous game.
So, did you think that's an interesting thing that's being developed? Don?
Did you get this?
Okay, can I ask one
Yes,
question?
please.
How do you get the DNA from somebody you want to kill?
Yes.
You go and get. How do you get the DNA?
Well,
Whilst you're getting the DNA, couldn't you kill them then?
That's a very good point.
No, you get
Teeth.
face. I said they get,
You said DNA.
they get the DNA of their facial recognition, and they
No, hang on.
program it in-
DNA is different to facial
I know it is.
recognition.
I know it is, but they program the facial recognition into the bombot, and then they take it to the general city where they want that what it is, and the bombots seek out the people, the targets.
Okay.
They land on their head, and they have a little explosive that it just doesn't blow their head off, but it just renders them dead.
Okay. If you were to wear a mask, would you negate one of these bomb bots?
Yes, that's why I said they have DNA.
So I'm asking you the question then. How do you get the DNA?
Well, because they have sensitive detection.
No, DNA to me is where you take a scalpel or something, you take a scraping from somebody or something, and then you put that's your DNA.
Well, I'm only
now, why would, if you're doing that, wouldn't you kill the person whilst you're getting the DNA?
No, Don, because
because you could make it an incident.
So if you had a whole room, so if you had 1,000 people in a room, and you just didn't want to kill them all, you only wanted to kill the ones.
That's right.
So the bomb bots seek out the people that have been programmed.
I understand all that.
Yes, right.
But I'm asking you, I'm playing devil advocate here. I've said to you, well, you counter that by wearing a face mask.
And you said that.
And then I said,
you said,
counter
why don't
it
you
by
just kill them while you're getting their DNA?
DNA.
It was because then you'll be apprehended because you're there creating a crime and creating a murder.
Do you think
can
those
do this.
people-
You can just release them, and they have no idea who is.
Don't you think they can still kill people subtly without being detected
I'm not sure that you can do
captured
it any.
or whatever?
I'm not sure you can do it.
Whatever.
I'm not sure you can do it any more subtly than releasing these little things to go and attack people, and you can release them not
These
even
little
in the
things
same
that are the
city.
size of your fist.
Yeah. So, what's that?
These little things are the size of your fist.
Well,
hang on. Is this based off Elon Musk's comments? Where did you get this information from? Because right now it sounds like absolute bollocks.
No, it's they're developing. I was watching the program on it.
Watching the program. Can I ask what
You didn't go to sleep
technology?
halfway through, did you?
Don, just a minute, please. Just a minute. What technology do you know that can sense or monitor DNA without it touching someone?
None, Max. I don't know any because I'm not qualified. But these are bombot drones and they make thousands of them, and they put them in the back of a van, and the bloke showed the van opening the doors of the van, and they programmed the bombots, and they just flew out like bats out of a cave, and seeking out the people they wish to destroy. And they said that's going to be the new tactical warfare that is coming onto the market.
That was started by Elon Musk.
Taking into account my what?
Your age.
Yes.
And watching this, I think you fell asleep halfway through the documentary and woke up and then continued on. I don't think you got the whole of the documentary.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what that means, Don.
Well, you didn't pay.
I paid
attention.
Absolute
No,
attention.
I think if you did, you must have gone to sleep. A bit of a power nap.
Nick Kyrgios, coincidentally, is in the top 20 tennis players in the world now.
How couldn't he have won that? Seriously, if you're ever going to win a tournament, you got rid of the main man, and then he couldn't go on with it.
It was disappointing, but he's taking a step in the right direction, I suppose. You can't fault him too much for that.
No, I like. You
like Kyrgios?
Nick Kyrgios.
What about Kokkinakis? No.
Could have been a better player than Kyrgios at the same age when they started, but Kokkinakis had a number of injuries that's really set him back. But I believe that the same stage when they were both came onto the scene, Kokkinakis was a better player than Kyrgios.
Technically and form-wise potentially, but he's not as athletic as Kyrgios as well.
At the time when they were 18 or 19,
and I'm saying, and
was better than Kyrgios.
What about the other
pointing
boy?
Out a contradiction.
Which other boy?
The other.
Bernard.
Yes.
What?
Is it Bernard Tomic?
Yeah, he's the idiot.
What about Bernie Tomic? Don, was he any good?
Waste of talent.
He's going to try and be one of those celebrity boxers in a couple of years, I'd say.
Right. Have we got anything else we're doing here, Don? I've done bombots. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that was riveting.
Aaron Finch.
Who?
Aaron Finch.
Who's he? Who's Aaron Finch?
Oh, you're a ripper. What do you do all day?
Who is Aaron
what do
Finch?
you
Get a
do?
phone to Don. I get a phone call. Get a phone call yesterday. Now, Max, could you just come in tomorrow morning and just talk some sport and talk with
who's
Don and
Aaron
I and
Finch?
bring up whatever you want.
Who's Aaron Finch?
Who's Aaron Finch? He's the Australian captain in cricket.
You took me.
You
I
imbecile.
played golf with Aaron Finch. He's a very nice man.
You are.
I used to play golf with him and Shane Warne and Aaron Finch.
Well, why when the name was mentioned, you should have said, I played golf with Aaron Finch.
Well, James Stewart. I mean, it's how
Who,
many?
the racing car driver or the doctor out in Paran?
Or the football
the
player.
actor over in Hollywood. I mean, there's how
Jimmy
many?
Stewart, he's dead, the actor.
Don, when you talk about someone's name, there's several people who have the same name. I wasn't sure that you. I don't know why you mentioned Aaron Finch. Why did you mention him? Because you didn't mention anything about cricket, Max. You just said Aaron Finch.
Well, Aaron Finch, and
it's a
what do you
fairly
immediately
common
think of?
name.
He's retired as the one day.
Well, I didn't know that.
Well, get in.
No, that's why Max is in here.
Well,
sport.
this is what we're trying to do, but you're ignorant.
Oh, well, that's why we got someone in here to tell us about sport. Don.
You'll never win. Jeez, it takes me back years.
So before we finish...
Come on, make yourself relevant.
Well, I just whatever.
Well, what about Aaron Finch? I think
been
his
the
time...
worst podcast we've
Unfortunately,
done this.
maybe his time's up. I don't follow the cricket as closely.
Well, his time
don't
is
be
up.
ignorant,
He's-
Don. Why don't you follow the cricket then? So that
They're
when we
playing
speak
one
about
day
it,
as
you know
in
what we're
Cairns at
talking
the
about.
moment.
That's what you just
Anyway,
told me.
keep going, Max. What's that?
Quickly, Max, because this is...
Well, his
becoming
time is done. He's retired from Australian One Day International. He was a great player. He was in terrible form though with the bat, and that's why he was almost pressured into retiring from himself and from his board members. He still has an incredible mind for cricket. I would be surprised if he wasn't in some sort of coaching capacity, and he should be because he's cricket intelligence. Go on, press the button then.